Hey everybody, I support Sharia law in America. Now before you get upset, if you're going to get upset, I want to tell you how it is that I would support Sharia law in America. I want to put this in perspective. Now I'm not talking about America becoming this totalitarian Islamic state, which someday, if America is all filled with Muslims and we're all Muslims and we want Sharia law as our primary law, we'll vote it in. I don't see that ever happening. But until then, here's how I see Sharia law in America. First off, it already exists. It's already everywhere in America. There are some countries around the world where Sharia law exists, but the Muslims have to choose to go into an Islamic court. Because you could do like a regular court, but if you're both Muslims, you say, hey, we'll settle this way. If you're going to get married and you're Jewish, you would have a rabbi do it. If you were having marital problems, you would talk to your rabbi. If you're a Catholic, you want to get your marriage annulled. You know, a lot of these legal things have to do with marriage and relationships. I was in a mosque, and an imam was there, and the imam and I were talking, and this lady came in and had some divorce issues, and she needed to get papers signed from the imam so she could get her divorce. And I was thinking, we're in America. Why is this Muslim lady going to this imam? Why doesn't she just do it through the American courts? Because she's a Muslim. She says to the imam, she says, if I don't get these papers signed by you, when I go back home to visit my relatives in my homeland, I might get arrested. He says, don't worry, I'll have it all signed. So because of her relationship in another country, she needed this imam to sign these papers so she could go back and visit her relatives. So there's one lady right there who needs this Muslim, I assume it's Sharia law, she needs this Islamic jurisprudence and documents signed by an imam so she can be safe when she travels abroad to visit relatives. I think there's a lot of Muslims around here who would just rather have their disputes resolved in an Islamic way. And if that Islamic way does not conflict with our Constitution, then I have no problem. And you know, a lot of times our things do conflict with our Constitution and we still do them. Like California. California has legalized marijuana. Yet it's illegal from a federal perspective to have marijuana. So sometimes the feds come in and raid these pot crops here in California, but California police won't do anything. A homeowners association has its own bylaws and rules that people have to abide by. Judge Judy on television. People go to this television celebrity judge to have their disputes settled, and they signed a waiver stating that they will accept the ruling of this television judge and they will abide by that ruling. Even though that judge is not an active, real judge, they've signed papers. It's like signing arbitration agreements. Everybody in America is currently free to resolve disputes outside of the American court system. And it's a good thing because the American court system is a mess and it's busy. There are committees that solve things. Look, the Boy Scouts has its own laws and rules. And here the Boy Scouts ran afoul of our Constitution. So we cut off funding for the Boy Scouts. So here the Boy Scouts have their own laws. Universities have their own laws and rules and norms. A fraternity or a sorority has their own rules. They have bylaws. They can kick you out. They can initiate you. Biker gangs have their own rules. If you steal something from a biker, like a Hell's Angel or a Misfit, one of these guys, they won't call the police. They'll go over there. They'll beat you up. They will have you. They'll take twice as much as you took from them, and they'll break your arm, and you won't call the police. Now that's a little different. But see, there's the PTA. There's family. Yeah, your brother stole something from you. You don't go to the police. You tell your dad. And your dad goes and beats up your brother and takes it back and gives it to you. Military tribunals. Military has their own laws and their own legal system, the way of doing things. And as far as cruel and unusual punishment, we have that in our legal system too. A judge can make you do something cruel and unusual here in America. He just has to offer you another option. So he could say, okay, I didn't like what you said. I'm going to make you wash your mouth out with soap. He could make a grown man wash his mouth out with soap. But he has to say, or you could do 30 days in jail. So you have to give somebody an alternative. So with Sharia law, as long as people here in America have the alternative of going into another legal avenue to resolve their dispute, they should be free to practice Sharia law all they like, as long as it isn't the only choice. If they're not allowed to practice their Sharia law, then we've actually lost our freedoms by denying the Muslims the right to practice their law, as long as their laws don't, like some of our laws do, go against the Constitution, even though we do that. So anyway, let me know what you think.